We will now have Master Sergeant Mary Kay Messenger sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. On behalf of the National Park Service and the Statue of Liberty National Monument and Ellis Island, I'd like to welcome you all to our park. My name is Dave Lusinger. I'm the superintendent of the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. In fact, I've been here 4 years ago today, was my first day on the job. On July 4th of 2009, we had just reopened the crown for the first time after the events of 9/11. And then in October 28th of 2011, we celebrated the statue's 125th anniversary. The next day, on October 29th, we had to close it down so that we could do the much-needed life safety projects to make it safer and a much better experience for our visitors. Last year, on October 28th, 2012, we celebrated her 126th anniversary by reopening her. And the next day, October 29th, Hurricane Sandy hit, and we had to close it down. So here we are on July 4th, 2013, reopening the statue again after 8 months of reconstruction. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little sick and tired of opening and closing the Statue of Liberty. So I think this time we'll just leave it open. I could tell you that there are a lot of people that we should be thanking for this day. I'm going to pick one group specifically. When Hurricane Sandy hit and our staff really didn't have a place to work, most of my staff were shipped out to other parks to work, and they did a wonderful job. There was a core group of National Park Service employees and United States Park Police officers that were here the entire time. They were here the next day and were here for the next 8 months. And I could tell you they did an incredible job. I was inspired by them, and I am proud to have served with them during these last 8 months. They've done a remarkable job. I'm going to tell you a real quick story. You know, when the statue was given to us, the United States hadn't raised enough money to actually build the pedestal for her to stand on. She was supposed to be here in 1876 for our 100th anniversary. We didn't open up until 10 years later in 1886. But Joseph Pulitzer, who was the owner and publisher of the New York World, decided that he would put anybody's name who donated to the Statue of Liberty for raising the pedestal. Anybody who donated, no matter what the amount, he would publish their name in the newspaper. Well, he got an overwhelming response, and we built the pedestal. One of the wonderful stories about that was a school in Iowa that donated $1.25 to build a pedestal. Now, it doesn't sound like much money, but it was that gentle, grand gesture with the countless other ones enabled this beautiful pedestal to be built. So fast forward here to 2013, I got a very nice letter. And in that letter was a check. I'll tell you about that in a minute. The letter was from Southside Elementary School in Kendallville, Indiana. And these kids had learned about how the pedestal was first erected. They also knew that the statue and Ellis were closed. And inspired by their 3 teachers, these kids decided to raise some money for the Statue of Liberty. So they made Liberty lollipops. They advertised them in their school. They sent letters home to all the teachers and all the families. And in 3 days, they raised several $100s making lollipops. These are second graders. Amazing, amazing story. We are honored to have 3 teachers, those 3 teachers who inspired those kids with us today: Julie Becker, Samantha Baker, and Summer Miller. Ladies, would you please stand? Thank you. You know, as we've learned this past year, through triumph as well as tragedy, our teachers always stand tall, and we are blessed to have them nurturing our children. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce, it gives me great pleasure to introduce, my director, the director of the National Park Service, Mr. Jonathan Jarvis.
Well, thanks, Dave. You've done a fantastic job here in restoring access and to this incredible place. You know, it's pretty hard not to feel a rush of pride when you're standing at the Statue of Liberty on the 4th of July. And the employees of the National Park Service really feel, I'd say, an extra rush of pride today, because just a few months ago, as Dave said, most of Liberty Island and all of Ellis Island was underwater. The path of destruction of Hurricane Sandy swept up the East Coast and really hit these incredibly cherished icons that are visited by nearly 4 million people each year from around the world. From the high winds and the strong storm surge, we lost electricity, water, phones, even our sewage system. And the visitor screening facilities at Battery Park in Manhattan and at Liberty State Park were completely destroyed. The docks that you're using today to come over were severely damaged. And the walkways all the way around Liberty Island were just basically hosed, and as well as the railings. We had this enormous challenge on our hands. But I'm very happy to say that that challenge has been met. The National Park Service and its incredible partners worked literally around the clock to get this incredible place back open, get operations stood up. It was no small feat to really restore this on this day, the day that we celebrate the birth of this nation. The new dock has been built. There's 42,000 board feet in it, and it would not have occurred without the great assistance of the Federal Highways Administration. We really would not be here without their help, and a special thanks to the Highways Administrator, Victor Mendez. The new temporary screening facilities have been stood up at Battery and in New Jersey, and we have new screening equipment, more lanes, and that actually allows a much faster flow through and a very much improved visitor experience, as well as a safe one as well. We've replaced the pavers around the island, 53,000 of them. 2,000 feet of granite edging and hundreds of feet of handrails, as well as restore all of the sod and a new irrigation systems. New electrical, heating, cooling systems are in process, and when they're done, they will set a new standard for sustainability. It's been a goal of mine that the National Park Service would reduce its carbon footprint, and so we're putting in new boilers that can be used either oil or natural gas. And we're setting the standard for the new FEMA floodplain elevation as well, so that we will be more resilient for the next set of storms. New LED lighting for the statue as well. While much of our focus has been getting Liberty open, Ellis is still in process. And we lost all of the utility systems, security as well. And one of the big challenges, of course, is when we lost the HVAC at Ellis, it jeopardized literally the priceless archives and museum collections that were stored in the main immigration building. So believe it or not, the Park Service has a museum emergency response team that we dispatched immediately, coming over with curatorial specialists, and they moved into Ellis and gathered up all of these priceless items, and we moved them to a climate-controlled facility in Maryland, where they continue to be cared for until we can fix Ellis. It was a huge job, and there are many folks that need to be thanked for this incredible work, particularly the National Park Service's Denver Service Center, the Northeast Regional Office. They all waded in immediately upon response. And then we've had a whole series of contractors that have come through that have done, when you're working at the Statue of Liberty, let's say the lights are on you to do a good job. From Baird Smith of Quinn Evans Architects, Total Recall and Access Communications, which basically donated much of our security apparatus, Joseph Natoli Construction, John Culkin of CNS, EIC, they were our dock builders, Moss Cape was our general contractor, and our three concessioners, Evelyn Hill, Eastern National, and Statue Cruisers, have been very patient, well, maybe partially patient, to get this place back open. Our great foundation partners, the Statue of Liberty Ellis Island Foundation, the state of New Jersey, and of course the city of New York, who has been a fantastic partner. And I want to echo Dave's comments about the National Park Service, U.S. Park Police, our rangers, all here. They have been working day and night, tirelessly, endlessly, to restore this place. This is mission for us. This is deeply heartfelt that our job in the National Park Service is to provide these places for the enjoyment of all citizens, and it is one of the most enduring icons of America, and we pulled it off. It's open today. Welcome. And so it's my pleasure now to introduce someone who really needs no introduction in New York, but a great friend of the National Park Service. We in the parks world look for leaders that deeply understand at a core value the role parks play in the lives of all citizens, particularly in our urban areas. And Mayor Bloomberg gets it, as we say in the National Park Service. So here is your mayor, Mayor Bloomberg.
John, thank you, and good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to join you and everyone here in reopening this inspiring national symbol of hope, and yes, I hope it is the last reopening. Lady Liberty, whose welcome to all is to all who yearn to breathe free, is just, I think, like the 4th of July. It's at the heart of what America really is all about. It's an opportunity to remind ourselves of how lucky we are to have ourselves or our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents come here so that we could have all of the opportunities that the most wonderful country in the world provides. Just a week ago, as you know, the U.S. Senate took up a very important step that honored that heritage when they approved by a wide margin a reform bill that will bring our immigration reform laws into the 21st century. And let me just say that Senator Mendez, along with Senator Schumer and Gillibrand, really are leading the charge. And Bob, I just wanted to say on behalf of everybody here, thank you. You really do the right thing. Bob doesn't always vote the way I'd like him to vote, but I've always respected his right to be wrong. In this case, he's 100% right, and he knows his parents were immigrants to this country. And in my case, it was grandparents on one side, great-grandparents on the other. But thank God they all came here. And then what they've done is they've given us an opportunity. Our rights and our freedoms aren't, they're self-evident, but they're not self-fulfilling. We have to fight to keep these all the time. And we have young men and women on the streets of our cities and around the world fighting and sometimes paying the ultimate price so that we can gather here today, we can say whatever we want to say, we can be in charge of our own destiny. And it's our job, like you guys learned in the second grade, to understand what it's all about. And we've got an obligation to teach our children. And I think that's what the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island and the World Trade Center Memorial, all of these things are there for. They're a place for those that we lost to grieve about, but they're also the place that should remind us and our children that we've got freedom's not free, and we're going to have to constantly keep our vigil up, and we've unfortunately paid the price too often when we've let that vigil down. It's too easy to forget. It's hard to remind ourselves of tragedies. It's hard to remind ourselves that we've got to make investments to have freedom, but there it is. And thank God we have people like the French who gave us a monument so that we can keep reminding ourselves. The action that Bob Menendez and Senators Gillibrand and Schumer took hopefully will become a reality this year. And so that makes the reopening of the statue very timely. And seeing the Statue of Liberty up close and taking in Liberty Island's spectacular views of our harbor has been just an unforgettable experience for generations of visitors to our city and New Yorkers as well. I remember coming down here with my parents. We drove down from Boston and we went to Rockefeller Center and Radio City Music Hall and the Empire State Building, and we certainly came here. And I climbed up those stairs, and my parents explained to me what the poem was about and what it's meant and why we have this. This statue has been a long destination, one of the most popular destinations for the 8.2 million people that come to our city every year. It averages something like 3.8 million visitors annually, including close to 500,000 during July alone. And if you want to visit Liberty Island, you should make arrangements with the Statue Cruises to purchase tickets and arrange tours. Lady Liberty, as John said, had just marked her 126th anniversary when I think David said it, just marked her 126th anniversary when Hurricane Sandy struck. Sandy left plenty of repairs to be done. The Park Service deserves a lot of credit. Workers around the nation, around the world came to help, along with those from our city's Parks Department, and our commissioner is here for the Parks Department. And they and the other city agencies did a spectacular job. We have the Speaker of our City Council here, and we do nothing without the City Council. So Veronica White and Chris Quinn, thank you to both of you. You can stand up and take a bow. As John noted, they've also taken steps to protect this island from major coastal storms in the future, just as we're doing with the rest of our city. Having an argument about climate change when the polar caps are melting and the oceans are getting higher and warmer and the storms are getting more frequent and severe and we're having droughts where we never did before and floods we never did before is sort of being myopic. The bottom line is we have to prepare for the future, and today as we honor those who bravely secured America, we also remember those from many lands who built, and I'm confident will continue to build, a wonderful nation of immigrants. So on behalf of New York City and especially our roughly 2,200 New Yorkers whose jobs are supported by visitors to this national treasure, I want to again thank everyone who's helped get Lady Liberty ready to receive guests again and make sure that her lamp stays lit beside our golden door. So now let me turn the floor over to someone whose deep commitment to honoring our heritage, immigrant heritage, is something that really is near and dear to his heart. He's really experienced it. He comes from parents who were born in Cuba, and he's helped, as I said, leading the charge to make sure that many more generations of immigrants like his parents can come here and take part in the great American dream. A nice warm round welcome for New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm going to talk about which items we don't agree on. Thank you, Mayor Bloomberg. I just kidded with Mayor Bloomberg. I said, I don't know. I'm for reasonable gun control measures. I believe in that climate change is a challenge. We believe in immigration. Together, we have to figure out what we disagree on.
You think aid should go to New Jersey as well as New York?
Well, I believe aid should, he said, I believe aid should go to New Jersey as well as New York. Well, that's why the people of New Jersey elect me, Mayor, so that's why they elect you, too. Anyhow, it's great to follow Mayor Bloomberg. He's done a great job in New York City. And it is an honor to be here with the Secretary of the Interior, Secretary Jewell, on the 4th of July, on Independence Day, to reopen Liberty Island after the devastation of Superstorm Sandy. And I see some of my dear friends and colleagues from the United States Congress, Congresswoman Maloney, Congressman Crowley. Thank you for joining us as well. They're tremendous members of the Congress. As the mayor suggested, it's fitting that we're here just as the other day the United States Senate passed legislation that will give 11 million immigrants the pathway to citizenship so that they can earn their way and enjoy the liberty that is represented on this hallowed ground. In 2007, when we failed in our last attempt at immigration, I quoted the last phrase of Emma Lazarus's poem emblazoned on the inner wall of the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty. It says, "I lift my lamp beside the golden door." And I said then, when we failed that time, that the lamp is somewhat dimmer, but it will shine again. Today, 8 months after the water rose, after the docks were ruined and the 12-acre egg-shaped island 3/4 submerged, after a 14-foot storm surge swept across this island, destroying some of our most cherished elements of Liberty Island, today, Lady Liberty shines again once more. And during Sandy, while the island's docks were torn to splinters, they are now ready again for almost 4 million people who come here every year to understand what all of us feel each day as Americans: the breath of freedom and the opportunity that Lady Liberty, standing there, torch in hand, represents. The statue came through unscathed from Sandy, unbowed like the rest of the East Coast and the rest of New Jersey. We said then that we could do and would do what we had to do to rebuild, to help everyone, including the 171 people who worked on this island, get back to work, and we have. But of all the damage we suffered in Sandy, and believe me, I saw some incredible damage in my home state of New Jersey, from Hoboken all the way down to the Jersey Shore, none was more of a direct hit than what we stand for as a people in the nation, than the damage that was done here. So Sandy may have struck Liberty Island, but not what it will always represent. Everything that's at the heart of our democratic values, and the words written on the inside of the statue's pedestal. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch. Today we reopen Liberty Island, and there she stands, as proud as ever. It's a great day for all of us, and it speaks to our determination and perseverance in the face of adversity. It proves nothing can beat us down, that we will always come back from whatever adversity comes our way. After the attacks of September 11th, I led an effort to liberate Lady Liberty from the shackles that had been placed on her when her crown was closed. And today, the entire world knows neither terrorists nor nature can ultimately shackle liberty. It's in America's DNA to meet every challenge, and even in adversity, to remain a beacon of freedom, inclusiveness, and opportunity. So welcome back, everybody, back to Liberty Island. Let me join in commending from the United States Senate all of the National Park Service, all of the rangers, all of the park police. They're an exceptional group of public servants who every day help us not only be secure on the island, but bring its history to life. And I appreciate the job that each and every one of you do and your commitment to that service. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the person who ultimately is the leader in this regard, the Secretary of the Interior, Sally Jewell. The Secretary of the Interior, for those of you who don't know, among other duties, oversees all of the nation's parks, all of the nation's national monuments. If you visit us in Washington, the National Mall. But she is also the steward of all of the nation's natural resources. And we believe that she will be a great steward for future generations of Americans. So, Madam Secretary, welcome to New York Harbor, to the Statue of Liberty, the crown jewel of everything that's strong and hopeful in our nation. I have been to the Statue of Liberty Monument, as I mentioned, a number of times with your predecessor, my good friend and former colleague, Ken Salazar, who was the Secretary at the Interior. In fact, at his confirmation hearing, I made him promise that he would visit the statue and consider reopening it after its closure to the public as a result of the tragedy of 9/11. And he did that on July the 4th, 2009. So, Secretary Jewell, now you have the same opportunity to reopen the statue after the damage Superstorm Sandy wrought on the island. I want to congratulate your leadership in making this happen today on the 4th of July, a day that we celebrate freedom and liberty. And I invite you back to the New Jersey side of Ellis Island to reopen Ellis Island as soon as it is repaired as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of the Interior, Sally Jewell.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Menendez. Fortunately, it's a shorter commute to get here, so there's a good possibility of that. I want to join my colleagues up here in welcoming all of you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the interest on the part of the press. Before I get into talking about Lady Liberty, I want to talk about this purple ribbon that I'm wearing right now today. 2 days ago, I was in Arizona meeting with the Yarnell Hill Fire Incident Command Post. This ribbon is to commemorate the largest loss of firefighters in this country since 9/11. 19 firefighters lost their lives in the line of duty. And we as a nation stand together in support of them. It's actually the largest loss of life in wildland fires since 1933. So this is a big deal. But it's a great reminder of the importance of first responders in this nation that we rely on so much for our liberty, our security, and our safety. So let's give a round of applause to our first responders. Whoops. All right, there went my speech. Thank you. Now on to the Statue of Liberty. Lady Liberty, standing behind me, is a beacon of hope for 127 years on this, our 237th birthday of this nation. You know, we celebrate an incredible country with many people, with our nation's first people, our American Indians, the American Indians across this nation who have their own nations that we respect as equal partners, with Alaska Natives, with Native Hawaiians, and of course, with immigrants. Many came to this country through Ellis Island, or through Angel Island, or through the slave ships brought over from Africa. I myself am an immigrant. I came over at the age of 3 with my parents on a 2-year assignment. They were coming here to, my father to teach at the University of Washington Medical School, my mother as a nurse and a midwife, and 50 years later they had devoted themselves to medicine and nursing, and they called this country their final resting place. So that 2-year assignment led to great contributions to this country. So whether we work in medicine or farm work or many of the other skills that are so critical in putting this country together, including building things like the Statue of Liberty or Hoover Dam or any of the other icons that we think about around this great country, we have done it on the backs of immigrants as well as the people that are indigenous to our country. Together, we have created the most welcome and open society on the planet, one that thrives in its diversity, one that breeds innovation and opportunity that is the envy of the world. So I want to thank Mayor Bloomberg and the City of New York for their support, Senator Menendez, Governor Christie, and all others who represent New Jersey for their support in getting this statue open. And most particularly my colleagues in the National Park Service who are in uniform around you, John Jarvis, who not only supported this project, but actually has been the lead for Interior in the Hurricane Sandy restoration area work on all of the public lands around this great statue. They worked literally around the clock. I was here about a month ago. I can tell you it's come a long way, and I know it still has a long way to go. But Lady Liberty, I want to thank most of all, because she provides the constant and inspirational reminder of what makes this country great. So I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank you all for making this country what it is, and for our guests and visitors from other countries for coming to experience what we believe is a great symbol of what this country stands for. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it back to Dave Lusinger.
I'd like to invite everybody on the podium to help us with a ceremonial ribbon cutting.
Wow, that is a ribbon.
Secretary, we got these for you.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, those are sharp, Secretary.
Ready, guys?
They work.
1, 2, 3.
Hey!
And now I'd like to invite actor, you may know him from The Sopranos, Mr. Dominic Chianese, who's going to sing God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Folks, this concludes our ceremony, and please enjoy Liberty Island. Thanks for coming.